Hello. Greetings, everyone. Terry here with the Tailored Realty team. I was experiencing some technical difficulties. I apologize, but we are here for the weekly home workshop. I'm your host, Terry Taylor from the Tailored Realty team. Every Wednesday at around 12:15, we're a little late on today. We talk about different real estate topics for buyers, sellers, investors, homeowners. Simple, practical, easy to understand solutions. I did have a few technical difficulties I was trying to iron out. There are a few different things we want to start trying to help you understand these concepts just a little bit better. And also, you may be able to hear it. I'm getting over something as well, so I'm a little bit nasally. So just bear with me if you would, please. We did start just a few minutes late, but I'm still going to try to keep it to about 15 minutes, if that's okay with everybody. Hopefully, you were able to see today's topic. You're under contract. Now what? And usually, once you get under contract, that's when all the fun begins. You've been out looking at houses at this point. You may have made a few offers. It's the one or two offers, or maybe you got the first one you made a good, solid offer on. But now that you're under contract, there's some next steps that you go through. What are things that you'll be uh, challenged with? See if I can get this next one pulled up, please. Yeah, so, what you can see here, many buyers think the hard part is over once the offer is accepted, but it's also the beginning of several important steps that move you. Getting your offer accepted is exciting. Okay, so if you can't get to, let's do this. Yeah, quite frankly, if you can't get quite a bit of time, and there may be several reasons why you don't get to the closing table, but again, this is one of the reasons you want a real estate agent on your side because, believe it or not, no matter how much hard-nosed negotiating is going on, whether it's the seller side or the buyer side, certainly the attorneys and the lenders, everybody involved in the transaction wants to get to the closing table. Okay, the buyer gets their home, the sellers get rid of the home and get their money, the asset, or the investment that they've had for quite some time, or maybe not for a long time. Again, there's all different types of situations. Bottom line is everybody wants to get to the closing table. So you want to do things that help to promote that. Once you're under contract, though, one of the things you definitely want to understand is the following. What happens next? After you're under contract, number one, usually earnest money is delivered. And we can say that the earnest money is really just, you've seen it in other episodes if you purchased a home before, it just lets you know how serious you are about the purchase. It's really about having, for lack of a better term, some skin in the game. Uh, if there are offers that are on the table, and again, it's not necessarily required here in South Carolina, but certainly offers with earnest money look better than offers without. Okay, that is one of the factors that sellers will definitely look at. So you want to make sure you put yourself in a position to win that offer. But once you're under contract, if it's in the terms of the contract that earnest money will be delivered to, whether sometimes we don't do it anymore. I don't see it done very often, where real estate companies will hold the earnest money. In most cases here in South Carolina, the attorney's office is going to hold it. But a lot of times in the contract, you'll state how quickly you'll get that earnest money in, whether it's in within 2 days of ratification or 3 business days of ratification, whatever the case might be, whatever's in the contract, a lot of times that earnest money comes due at that particular point in time. Number two, home inspections are scheduled. Remember, now you're under contract, these are the things that's going to happen next. Remember, most of the time you have like a standard 10 business day due diligence to perform all your inspections, but honestly, could be shorter, could be longer, whatever that time frame is. Now it's time to start getting those inspections scheduled. Number one, you want to get on an inspector's calendar. A lot of times they're booked up, and if you wait until the last minute, then you're playing with getting to the closing table. One of the things you want to be able to do as a buyer is understand whether or not you want to follow through on this purchase. And the best way to do that, one of the best ways to do that, is to have home inspections done. So don't waste time. Once you get under contract, it's time to start getting those inspections scheduled, especially if it's one that's required by the lender. Number three, your lender continues processing the loan. Okay. A lot of times we'll tell our clients, please, please, please do not extend more credit. Don't do anything. Don't make any big withdrawals or big deposits without talking to your lender first, because you're in the middle of a process. The lenders and the underwriters, all those that are involved on the loan side of the deal, are looking to make sure you still qualify for this house that you're about to purchase. So as a purchaser, as a buyer, be smart about what you're doing. Hey, things come up. That's not to say you can't ever do anything, but when these things do come up, be sure to talk to your lender before you just go out making decisions. Okay. Let's see. The appraisal is ordered. Excuse me. Take a little swig of water. So the appraisal is ordered, and usually that's done by the lender as well. But remember, we're talking about what's going on after the contract. So you get it under contract. It's not like you're just getting ready to go to the closing table next. These things have to happen, and your lender's going to order the appraisal. They want to understand. They want to make sure whatever you signed for the contract. So whatever offer you made and was accepted. Let's say you offer $300,000 on the home. The lender wants to make sure that that house appraises for $300,000, and the appraiser is going to come in. They're going to look at certain things, not to mention comps in the area, and they're going to see, does this house qualify for a $300,000 loan? So the appraisal has to get ordered. That is just one step in the process. The title work begins. Can't say this enough. You want to make sure there's clear title to the property. So you don't see it too often, but there are different lien positions that are taken on a home sometimes. The mortgage will take a first position. Sometimes there's a second mortgage. Sometimes there's liens on the property. I think they're called, I don't know why I want to say mechanics liens is I think the term. But sometimes people might contract someone to do work and they hadn't finished paying for it. So they'll take it to the courts and they'll issue a lien based on an outstanding payment. So the title work is done, and the attorney's office is doing their work to make sure that there's a clear title to the property. Make sure you're not getting this property with any kind of issues associated with it. You want a clear title to the property. Okay, and this is one of the steps to getting you to the closing table. Number 6, your closing attorney prepares for settlement. And usually that's just where they kind of coordinate with with your lender, and they're getting all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed, and they're making sure all the money and all the numbers match up, right? So if anything was promised to you in the contract, whether it was seller concessions, any kind of discounts or credits that your lender's going to give you, they're working and coordinating with the attorney's office to make sure that settlement statement matches up. And that settlement statement is just going to clearly outline where every dollar in this transaction is going. So those are some of the things that get worked on and get worked up as you're approaching the closing table, which is where you want to get to. Don't forget, getting under contract is very exciting, but getting to the closing table is the ultimate goal. I'll put this one back up for just a sec. The key line in this one is every step after the contract is designed to answer one question: can this transaction successfully close? So every step, those 6 steps we just went over, is designed to answer one question: can this transaction successfully close? And really that's ultimately excuse me, ultimately what this is all about. Everything else is kind of, eh, you know, side issues. What's the best way to describe this? Everything else is kind of noise. These are the things that you want to make sure you understand. Just a few other things to kind of get ready for in route to the closing. So as you get closer to the closing table, you're also going to want to schedule your utilities to get transferred. Um, you may be arranging for the house to get cleaned up. You're going to have to order insurance. There's so many steps in the process that you're probably not thinking about. Um, and a lot of times we get the question, well, who should I go with for insurance? Well, now's a good time to start shopping those things around. See if any of your insurance companies that you currently work with offering any kind of bundle packages, right? Or any kind of bundle discounts. So you want to start scheduling utilities. You want to go over your closing disclosures with your lender. Excuse me one second. But all those things are important and steps towards getting to the closing table. So it's not just we go look at homes, we sign the dotted line involved, and certainly there are a lot more steps to consider. You also have to consider, once you've scheduled those inspections, what if something comes back unfavorably from one of those inspections? Well, now you're back to negotiating and you could walk away from the deal altogether. So there's just so many steps involved. Again, this is only a 15-minute segment. I could certainly go into uh, lengthy discussions on every aspect of everything, but we won't do that in this episode because, again, this is just strictly designed to give you just a couple of tidbits and nuggets en route to a more lengthy discussion once you're ready. And maybe you're in the middle of the process and there's some things that you hadn't thought about. These are just some things that you want to consider as you begin the process. Now, if you haven't found your real estate agent yet, I'm Terry. My wife is Yolanda. We've been in business for over 20 years. We'd be more than happy to help you through the process. Go to our website, tailoredrealtyhomes.com. Read the reviews. We got great reviews from our clients. And again, once you get into the Tailored Realty team fold, quite honestly, you're like family to us, and that's the way we treat you. So we ultimately have the same goal. We want to get you to the closing table. So once you're under contract, really that's what's next. Those are some of the next steps. I see I've hit my 15-minute mark. Excuse me. Pardon me. My voice is about out at this point. So thanks for joining. I hope to be feeling a little bit better on the next round. We'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Have a good one.